Hello everybody, and welcome to my Pecha style presentation for the Design Tools class here at Full Sail University. As a quick disclaimer, with prior approval, the subject of this video being weapons and firearms is in no way to promote a political debate between viewpoints. It is just something that I'm simply passionate about. To start off, I enjoy swords, and personally, I enjoy seeing the evolution of weapons just throughout history. Still to this day, there are a fair amount of people who like to think that swords are just sharpened crowbars from a time when illiteracy was rampant, which isn't true. I mean, obviously, people back then weren't as well educated as they are nowadays, but that didn't mean that they were stupid. There's so much science and research that went into them, and even into weapons nowadays, that um, even just the slightest miscount of carbon when smelting the iron could drastically change the behavior of the steel, and in which case, changing the effectiveness of it. It was There was a lot to it, so much so that it was a very respectable position. Obviously you were no lord over the lands, but it was a respected position, and it quickly turned into an art form too, because not only were you know lords and nobles coming to you to uh, commission a piece, but the higher the status of the person, maybe they wanted something more intricate. Maybe they wanted silver scroll work or gold inlay or something. It was art. It was very much so art. And but enough about swords. On to the meat and potatoes, though. Now, personally, I love firearms. It is something that I have always been passionate about. Ever since, hell, even before I got into video games, it was awesome. I always remember I was like, oh man, those things are so cool. Yeah, and I remember going out to air shows and maybe not so much gun shows, but definitely air shows where there would be some military people, Army, Air Force, Marines, and whatnot, and they would have all sorts of different stuff. And it was honestly awesome, and I couldn't wait till I turned 18 before I could start purchasing some of my own. I'm currently now 26, actually, and proud owner of 4 firearms, all of them being rifles. One AR-15, one M1 Garand SKS, and one that belongs in the trash. Not gonna say what that one is, but it is garbage. Anyways, I have this image up right here because I needed to throw it in to upset a friend of mine who's a PMag lover, and I love my hex mags, so you know who you are out there. And I also want to say that too because some people like to say that humor doesn't belong with firearms, and I'm going to say that's not true, because if it didn't, we wouldn't have images like this one right here, making fun of the good old Chris Costa foregrip. So one thing I want to touch on really quick is video games and firearms, and kind of a lack of knowledge in the video game industry. And specifically, I'm going to use Fallout 4 because of the hunting rifle. Now, hunting rifle, as you can see, has the ejection port on the left-hand side when using it right-handed. If you're unaware of what that means, it essentially means that when you eject the brass casing, you have a very hot piece of brass getting ejected straight into your face. That is why that does not work. And Todd, it does not just work, alright? I love you, Todd. This is coming from someone who hopes to be employed by you one day, but no, I love you. I'm never going to not give you shit for that, alright? But on a side note, though, video games do a lot for the video games do a lot for the firearm industry, I should say. Because would we have stuff like this? Honestly, I could never in a million years would have thought about a double-barreled pump-action shotgun. It's just there's so much innovation or I shouldn't say innovation, but creative freedom in video games for firearms that I think that video games kind of help almost inspire the firearms industry. And vice versa. I think the firearms industry also helps inspire video game industry. And because it's interesting to see what we could potentially have in the future. Because like we have, laser guns and plasma guns, which I've seen a few videos on YouTube talk about how, oh, it's physically impossible or theoretically impossible. Well, they've also said the same about landing a probe on a passing by comet, and we successfully did that. While I don't think it's physically impossible, I don't think anything is physically impossible, just physically impossible at the current moment. And this is also just speaking from a time where this is just kind of what we can perceive at the moment. Even far into the future, once we have, show laser or plasma weaponry, what are we going to think of next? What's the new horrifying way we can discover to kill each other with? And frankly, I'm sad I won't be able to see it, because I'm sure a lot of this stuff is far off. Probably not as far as some of us think, but, it'll be interesting. Anyways, that has been my Pechachka. Thank you for watching. Please leave comments down in the comments section talking about, what's something you're passionate about. Let's just have a little chat. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys.